Hi everyone, welcome back to a new post today. And as we are into elections, I thought I should give you a review of the election laws that we follow in the country. So the main election laws that we follow in the country are the Representation of People Act 1950, 1951 and the Delimitation Act 2002 and also the Conduct of Election Act of 1951. Basically, the Representation of People Act 1950 was enacted to provide for allocation of seats in the House of People and the Legislative Assembly along with the Legislative Councils of the state. So to sum up, this act deals with the allocation of seats in the House of People, the state legislative assemblies and the state legislative council, delimitation of the parliamentary assembly and council constituencies, election officers like the chief electoral officers, district election officers, electoral registration officers and so on. Electoral rolls for parliamentary assembly and council constituencies, manner of filling of the seats in the council of states to be filled by representative of the union territories, local authorities for the purpose of elections to the state legislative council, barring and also all matters with regard to the above issues in the courts as well. So, and it also speaks of barring of the jurisdiction of the civil courts with regard to the issues. So the provisions for the actual conduct of the election to the House of the Parliament and the Houses of the Legislature of the state, the qualification, disqualification of membership of the House, corrupt practices, electoral offences, decisions of the election disputes are left to made in a subsequent manner. And let me tell you that the Constitution also speaks of qualification, disqualification. So there are two qualifications that the MPs and the MLAs have to fulfill. One is the Constitution and one is the Representation of People Act 1950. The Representation of People Act 1951 broadly contains the provisions with regard to qualification, disqualification of the Parliament and the state legislatures, notification of the general elections, administrative machinery needed for conducting these elections, registration of the political parties, conduct of elections, free supply of any material that are needed due to the recognized political parties, disputes regarding the elections, corrupt practices and electoral offences, the powers of the Election Commission of India with regard to disqualification of the members, re-election and the time limit for filling of vacancies, miscellaneous provisions regarding to elections barring the jurisdiction of civil courts. And the Delimitation Commission Act of 2002 deals with the Article 82 and 170 which speaks about readjustment of the seats in the Lok Sabha and the Assembly constituencies on the basis of the census by an authority that is created by the Parliament for this regard. And also Article 330 and 332 of the Constitution provides for fixing the number of seats reserved for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe in the House of People and the legislative assemblies of the state. So Delimitation Act was enacted to create a delimitation commission for the purpose of effecting the delimitation on the basis of the 2001 census as and also to correct any distortions with regard to the electoral constituencies. Now the proposed delimitation would refix this number of seats for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes based on the basis of 2011 census. So this was with regard to Delimitation Act of 2022. The other laws which relate to the parliamentary elections in the country are the Parliament Act of 1951 Prevention of Disqualification which declares certain offices of profit under the Government of India shall disqualify the persons who hold the office for being chosen. So the Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Amendment Act of 1976 provides for inclusion and exclusion from the list of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribe of certain cases and the tribes. Government of Union Territories Act of 1963, Government of National Territory Act of 1991, the Presidential and the Vice Presidential Election Act of 1952, regulating certain manners relating to connected with the elections to the offices of the President and the Vice President of India. So this is a quick review of the election laws in the country. Definitely we are in the general elections period now, and this might be a very a possible question for your mails and even with regard to preliminary. So you need to know the difference between 50, 51 and the Delimitation Act, and there are other laws also as well with regard to the elections in India. I hope this information was really helpful to you all. If you did, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment in the section below. Until then, I shall see you in my next post. Until then, very happy learning.